Hello everyone, we have a very special video today. We're going to continue speaking about the film scorings hacks that we talked about on our last video. Today we're going to explore a little bit more the switch between DAW and score software, in my case Nuendo and Dorico, how to transition tempo maps from each other, and we're going to speak a little bit about NotePerformer that we left that out on the last video. So it's going to be a short video, but it's going to be a very cool video then. So let's begin. Okay, so if you saw the last video that I recommend you do so that you can follow up, we had this arrangement and it was just a sketch, and we made an arrangement and we sent everything and imported everything from between Dorico and Nuendo, which are my DAW and scoring software. In this case, what we're going to do, and I want to show you here, is to make a lot of changes because of tempo changes that we already made. Those all you see here are tempo changes that we just did. And we want to, to bring this within into Dorico so that we can apply it to the arrangement we have, so that we can actually take that out of Dorico with the new tempo. And so what I'm going to do is, I'm going to apply my range so that I know what will be the length of the MIDI file I'm about to create. I will select my tempo changes, and as well I will bring my markers. All I have to do now is to export this as a MIDI file, which will carry, I'll call it tempo map MIDI, and save this. Let's replace it, blah 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 blah, all good. And now we can go to Dorico. So the MIDI file will carry all this information to Dorico, and here we are. And as you can see, it's the same arrangement we saw on the last video. It's at 88 BPMs. It has a tempo change right about here. It goes up to 90, and that's it. It's very soft change, not that much of a thing. But we want to change that. We want to import our tempo thin, and what we're going to do is go to import tempo track, select my tempo MIDI map, and assign it to my my flow, not a new flow, but the flow I'm working at. Print all this information, and let's just click to make it happen. And there you go. Now we have an 84 BPM here. You can see I have my markers in here. And also, if you go to play and we select, instead of a track, we just select the tempo track, you can see here all of the tempo changes going on in here. Okay, so we can listen to this, and we're going to do that just very near the transitions so that you can feel the tempo change. A new change in here, and on and on. So we have now our arrangement, we have our markers, and this is important because if the reason I wanted to mention is if I go back to Nuendo and I have made this spotting here where I want every change to happen within the video, to happen at a certain point of the video, I can then go to Dorico, as we did, and bring all those markers to my scoring session and use them as points where I want them to make certain switches or to highlight things in the score. And the other one, if we use this like we did in the last video. We will export this in MIDI and audio, and we will do that obviously. So the reason I want to do it in here is because I want to do it with NotePerformer, and it takes a huge amount of RAM memory, and it takes a huge load of time to load. You have to do this. You have to know that it is very CPU consuming. So let's make a pause in here while I open that, so that we can move forward with that already set up. Okay. Okay. This is NotePerformer interface. It's not a NotePerformer tutorial, so we're not going in depth with this, but these are basically the libraries you can use, and this is very, very, very heavy. The smallest one that I have is BBC or the core version. I have the professional version, but the core is very light. This one is 32 gigabytes of RAM, and it takes a lot of work to load. So we're going to use this one very quickly. All I have to do is click on it and just let him know that I want to load every single orchestra sound that I have in here to match my score. I can, select and deselect and blah, blah. And all I have to do is click here and add select so that we can load all the sounds. And this is where we're going to make the pause right now so that we can continue once it's loaded. Okay, so this is the NotePerformer interface once it's loaded. You can see here it has loaded 15 gigabytes of samples into the RAM, and this is the CPU performance I have. So this is a very heavy workflow and demanding workflow, but it's beautiful, the results, and computers today can handle this. And this is the very small one. There's a few ones that are very CPU consuming, and you will need a very supercomputer to run this smoothly. So I'm using this one just to make it quick. And what basically NotePerformer does, for those who doesn't know it already, is to apply some sort of AI performance to the score that we have in our notation software, in my case, Dorico. So what it does is make things sound more like a human playing the score performance. And in this case, is applying the sounds, is applying that artificial intelligence performance, but with the sounds of this BBC Spitfires BBC library. This is the core one. I have the professional one, as I said, but this is very light. This is only 15 gigabytes so this is the one I'm using for this. So I'm going to take this out of the way and let you hear how it sounds. Okay, so we are here with our Dorico arrangement with the BBC sounds loaded into NotePerformer. Let's hear it. You can already hear it sounds much, much better. And the arrangement is following our tempo changes with the new BBC sample library. Okay, so I'm gonna move forward a little bit so you can listen to certain parts. You can appreciate it sounds much better. Super realistic. And the whole idea around this is basically So the whole idea around this basically is to save sometimes from our schedule and do certain things quickly. You can hear that this is good enough for a mockup. Maybe not for a final project, but it's very good enough for a mockup, and it sounds amazingly better than anything that we can export out of any software, notation software. So what I'm going to do now is a couple of things. The first one, I'm going to go to play, select one of the instruments and open the NotePerformer regular interface and make sure that it doesn't have the reverb applied. This is something that I don't want to transfer when I export sounds. So as you can see, it was not on, which is good, and export these files. So all I have to do is, as usual, export my MIDI file and my audio files, and I want to export every track so that I can remix everything by itself, and also the stereo version of this. I can, my settings, click OK, export everything, and take this back to Nuendo in this case. So I'm gonna hit OK and see you there. Okay, so we're back in Dorico, in Nuendo. I have muted the VSTs that I had. I'm going to import the files that we had. Once I bring them here I am about to send everything through my orchestral stem and put this whole bunch of files within, a folder. Let's call this Dorico. And this is all the audio we have. Let me see if I unmute. Let me unmute everything here. Okay, there everything should be sounding. Let me mute this one, which is the mix. And let me play it. It'll be a little bad. There. And as you can see, it's following the tempo changes. See? And now the drop. And now again, a faster tempo. And finally, the slowdown there. And as you can hear, it sounds very, very, very useful. It's already, what I'm listening is to every track that I have in here. And I can mix this, and I will probably use some PSTs layers on top of this so that it can sound a little bit more realistic, and with the cue and different room and blah, 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 it will sound amazingly. I can mute this and listen to the mix already, and it sounds, this is just the mix from Dorico. And it's sounding already pretty good. So this is not a workflow that will work for everything. It will work for certain things, obviously. But as when you have an orchestra, as a mock-up is a perfect thing to show. Maybe not a professional final thing that we want to deliver, but to show my client this is sounding far beyond than better than what we can offer from Dorico or from Nuendo with a simple sketch. And this is a quick workflow where we can basically did a bit of programming, send everything to Dorico, open up NotePerformer, export those audios, and we can keep tracking of what we have in Dorico, and we can have a matching couple of sessions between my DAW and my score software, and you can make changes, and everything will work every time, because all you have to do is whatever you're changing here, you can change in Dorico and send it back again or backwards, and it will work amazingly fast. And this is especially good for that, for making not making a lot of programming, but letting the NotePerformer AI and the sound libraries that we can have with the playback engines do the job for us instead of us programming everything in there, which is not necessarily recommended for everything, as I said, but it will work amazingly for certain projects. So this is it. So this is it. I wanted to show you how tempo changes can be sent to Dorico and keep sync between Nuendo session and a Dorico session. And in this way, you can, use the AI performance of NotePerformer with their playback engines so that we can take advantage of specialized libraries like the BBC or many others that they can work with, so that we can basically skip programming for certain applications. It will not work for everything. Probably is not a good idea to use this for a final project, but it does work amazingly and sounds very, 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 very good. Much better than whatever we are used to delivering with simply our notation software. But having this with a couple of layers and in Nuendo and being able to have that conversation between those two softwares will make things easy for us in certain cases. I definitely use it. I definitely recommend to use it for those cases, not necessarily for everything, as I said, but it will be an amazing tool to have if when really needed. So hopefully you can take advantage of it. You can implement it yourself and try it out. It's obviously expensive and very computer demanding solution. It's not for everyone, but hopefully you can try it out and see if it fits your workflow. Hopefully you like the video, and see you on the next one.